website, really don't hesitate because Alex is looking for more and more beta testers for that situation. So if you're interested, and I think that you could have great inputs and insights on what is needed for next iterations. And so don't hesitate if you want to be part, but also you don't forget to share that message to the gangsters in your hotspots, because if they want to play with the website, they can definitely be part of the beta tester group. So that was a quick update. Maybe to tell you just a quick update on the website about the mobile app. It's a work in progress, really going step by step because there's a lot to do. We've been working on the user stories. Really, the main challenge for the mobile is that there are infinite number of possibilities of what we could do and what we would want to see on that mobile app. But we need to start with something easy, to something very clear, something sharp, and then probably with time going, we will be able to add more features. But if you want to start with a small prototype, easy to launch prototype, we need to be clear on who do we talk to, who are our targets, and on which features we want to play. So we had a great workshop at the Sensecamp Le Mans this weekend about this, about the user profile and some key features we would like to see. And so we will probably have more information next month. But just to let you know that it's a work in progress. Ali has his objectives to launch a prototype in the first semester of the year, so that's great news. And on the website, you might not see it, but there are new iterations almost every week when we debug stuff or change some features or adapt some features. So there's a new version of the website every week. He also will work on how to synchronize or understand better the needs of the hotspots, especially the hotspots that do have their own website page, to make sure that we have the right connections between this website of Make Sense and the ones of the hotspots, and same with the very active Facebook groups. So we already discussed that during the meeting on the strategy in November. But yeah, it's still very clear that it's going to be a very important work to do and coming pretty soon. And we've had, he had discussion with guys from Facebook, from Google, from SAP, also to look at what kind of mentoring collaborations we could have. And working also on the back office in terms of tracking the data, of monitoring. So it's a lot of work with Chloe on how to improve the back office, but also with Christian in terms of impact assessment and what we do that in the back office. So that could also be inspirations in terms of features for a mobile app that will be focused on tracking the impact of what we do. So that's just a short update about ourselves. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, great.
Oh, yeah, I'm surprised. It's really good, the connection. Anything else on any comments on the app or the website? No.
Maybe I could add is regarding how, because we had some discussions about how to grow the technical team, because there's a lot to do, and Alex is not completely mastering the code, the type of code we have, because it's Ruby on Rails, and it's so it's something quite specific. So I don't know if you've seen, but we are hiring developers. The ideal scenario would be to have someone for the mobile and someone for the website, but this is the ideal scenario. And there are also some budget constraints to take into account, because the budget today does not allow us to take the best developer. So that's a discussion. The way it was, but Carol maybe can also precise that. there are both opportunities, interns and non-interns. We're also looking at what kind of profile we just connect with us. Both are possible, and there are scenarios for each kind of, I mean, there's a scenario with 2 interns, that's the scenario with only 1 more professional guy. The feedback we receive from some people is interns is dangerous, because they might not master as much as you need the code, especially if Alex is not a master of it, it will be more difficult to manage an intern. Also because the intern leaves after 6 months, so then how do you make sure that you master the code? But it's not a no-go. I mean, we really decided to be open to what comes.
Because I can share my experience on we hired, like we had Boyan as an intern. He comes from the École 42 and he's really good, and we are developing on Ruby on Rails, which is kind of specific. And after 6 months, we just hired him, and it was totally possible and compatible with his like school schedule. So that's
Do you
great.
have contacts in the school?
Sure, I can share it with you.
I mean, there's a budget that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Corinne Le Carrois, c'est ça?
That's it.
So hopefully by the end of the first semester we will have someone else joining the team, and that would be really great because as you may know, for now, for the development of the website and for this first month after deployment, we're working with an external agency. Because it was impossible to do without them at the very beginning. And now the idea is to internalize that so we can be more agile and deliver more quickly. But so yeah, it's in the process, and as you all know, recruitments are not easy, and especially for that type of job that is quite strategic. So hopefully we will have some applicants, and depending on the quality of applicants, then maybe some scenarios and have a discussion. But I don't think that would come before at least a month. We need to receive the applications and do interviews.
Yeah.
It's not going to come tomorrow.
No, actually, if you have some ideas about the network to spread the offers, and yeah, the idea was more to really open it to anybody. We have like a specification about the profile and the technical profile, but about the contract and the duration, we want to let it open so that we really attract the best people. And then, according to this, we will be able to renegotiate and like find the scenario that is cool for the candidate in first. So.
And speaking about hiring, Carol, you wanted to hire an intern to do HR with you, right? Have you actually found someone now?
No, but how do you know I'm going to do HR? It's supposed to be. No. Well, actually, I'm going to add it to the point tonight. I was thinking about writing something in Lumio and explaining more about the budget, blah, blah, blah. But I can give you a little more information at the end of the call as regards to the fact that I'm leaving Sense School, so who is going to replace me in the Senserocket and the HR thing. But for the HR right now, we think that because of the budget and also because there are a lot of things to structure, it's better to have no intern for the first half of the year and maybe recruit somebody by September.
Oh, okay.
Apply, right? I want to apply, I know.
Okay, cool. Well, we talk about that later. Oops. Alize, is she still joining later?
Where is Alize?
She's
here?
Je l'ai pas vu.
So we perhaps.
But otherwise, we can move on to the other one.
Exactly.
Okay, guys. So this is a discussion. I would like actually to continue and not to open because we already discussed that on the link between Make Sense and public administration. Last time we looked at the different things happening where there were links created between expressions. So everybody gave its opinion, indications, comments on the topic. What I got here, just looking at everything we gathered, if you want to have some guidelines, this is a proposition, but really to be challenged. So it would be great if you want to read it and give me your comments. Again, this is a framework, so the framework is here to be shared for everyone in the hotspots to have that information, to take the best decisions in an autonomous way. So it's quite open because there's no good or bad. Usually there are different options to be taken, but at least with that framework, we know where we should go. That should help to take right decisions. So maybe I can read it and then you give me your comments. So in what we shared, I felt there were some elements about the who, about the what, and about the how. Who, so we prefer to work with the administration and not directly with politicians. Politicians change, but the administration stays. But then Coralie mentioned we are working, for example, with La France Engage. It's with the cabinet, so it's more linked to the politicians and administration, but it's a bit blurred. So she mentioned that. So let's see if we want to change anything. If we happen to work or partner with a politician and its organization, it should not be a political party or someone running elections, but someone who's already elected by the citizens. We do not partner with party or public administration led by parties against our values. So here I didn't know exactly how we could precise that. We do not receive subsidies from political parties, politicians running elections, public administrations led by parties against our values. So it's not only a matter of working or partnering, but it also receiving money, because sometimes there are just calls for projects or whatever where you can receive subsidies and nothing more. But I thought it would be important also to include that situation in our framework. It's not just because we can receive money, but receive money from whom. Then on the what, we will work with the public administration on projects that have a very concrete impact outcome. It should enable medicines to accelerate its growth and impact. Ask yourself if you really need this partnership to solve a cause or scale up solutions. So if there's a real need, it answers a need. We do not communicate about any political program. We focus on the impact of what we're going to deliver in that context. And the how, we should avoid as much as possible to be both a partner and a client with the same public administration. That's something that Alice and Coralie shared last time. To avoid any conflict of interest, like the public administration playing on one side of, oh, could be a partner, or being a client and giving a good price because we're a partner on the other side. And when we are in a partnership relationship, make sure that the public administration is aware of our partnership manifesto. So that's something we discussed on Renewal, and respects it the same way a private company would be asked to do. So things, so what do you think of it? Is it clear, not clear? Are there things missing? Do you think it would be useful? Or really open to discussion here? The thing about the values, I was not really clear about it, you know, because
you meant more like the extreme parties.
Yeah, maybe I should be extreme parties, because just values, I think it's too broad and it's just extreme part. I don't know.
Something that, like you said, it could be like a client and partner relationship, meaning that they can also finance something. If we think about La France Engage with Total as a financer, in this case, we're not clients, but if the money comes from partners and we're partner with like, big corporates, and that's like the worst one, this is something we should include, because we know that there are some kind of a no-go list. Or, I mean, it's not a big point because I'm not sure that administration take money out of Total, but we are in this case with La France Engage. In this case, we didn't take any money, so we have to ask a question. But,
so just to be aware of where the money comes from.
Yeah, no, but if it's like from the case of the states, or from big partners, and maybe not even a communicated partner.
Yeah.
pay attention. So
Okay.
point of vigilance.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Online? I mean, just maybe it's if you project yourself in your hotspots, in your regions, with someone from the public administration approaching you, would that be useful to have that kind of guidelines for you to say go, no go, or do we need to precise more things? Do you think it's going to be very different from a context to another?
I think what might be an issue is that administrations are different in different regions, and I feel like that often administration, because we say here we prefer to work with the administration because it states, but isn't often, like, if you think of many countries in Africa, for example, the administration, like, is more difficult to access or to more difficult to access or to work with than like in Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That if there is I don't know, corruption, etc. Like, isn't that? Oh, I get what? Sorry. Yeah. So I wonder if we should specify according to the context. You know, that is it really always better to work with the administration or to work with the politics? I don't know.
Okay, I see.
And I think, like,
Perhaps Lorena, you can say something about that. How is it like in Mexico?
I think, I mean, for the most part, we have a lot of friends who also work in the same sector, and they don't necessarily, I mean, they could be a partner, but they don't necessarily, they give money or funds. Like, it's very difficult to reach to that point. And also, it's a very long process to engage them. For instance, in Mexico, for one of the administrations that are now partnering with the Sense Cube, it took like a year for them to jump in the boat, and then at the end of the day, they are really not adding much to the program, you know. So yeah, they said that yes, there were partners, but that's it. It's like concrete stuff that they are doing or developing. It's not so much like that. Although, for instance, in Guanajuato, in another hotspot in Mexico, there's one administration that focuses on youth. So they were able to support the gangsters to come to some workshops in Mexico City. So for that, like a specific purpose and some stipend, then it could work. But I think, I mean, it changes from administration to administration. But one, like, the process to get them engaged is very long. It's bureaucratic, and once you get them engaged, it doesn't mean like that they're gonna be like doing stuff that adds value. Although on the other hand, something that can add value is like, yes, maybe they're not your partners per se, but as you're having conversations or you're developing the Sense School program or doing different stuff, I mean, you need to sit with them and to have them on the table to understand how things are working from their side. So it will be more like an expert thing that they come and then they share their views and so on, rather than like a partner that is supporting you. And I mean, definitely changes from like city to city to country to region, everything. It's very diverse.
Yeah. Well, from what you say, I hear that it's different, but still, it's always a matter of their concrete input. I mean, on the impact that they have on my sense, and also acknowledge the fact that it can be very long and it's a long-term relationship to build. But at least, even though we're not sure at the beginning of what comes to do, but to make it very clear on how we're supposed to work together, and this is where again the partnership manifesto can help. Okay, anything else, guys? Other comments, inputs, or doubts?
Me? I'm wondering because I think we build this framework thinking about how it's working in France, especially the link between administration and politics. I have no idea if it fits to any kind of situation all over the globe. So is it like possible that at some point, maybe if it's like a big partnership, it has to be validated by the Senserocket? Because yes, it has to be discussed at some point because we have to be aware about the context and have more information, but just, okay, there is a potential partnership with this administration, let's go for it because it fits with 3 or 4.
How do you set the limit? Like
The Senserocket sets the limit.
Well, or to decide whether it has to be validated by the Senserocket.
Maybe for a certain amount of budgets.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if it's a client relationship and not only partner, or maybe the size of the program is going to touch like 100 people doing an event, or potentially the whole country because it's La France Engage. See, like the brand identity, like the brand image of Make Sense is touched or not. And I'm really.
To me, like every partnership we do is public administrations or should be validated by the Senserocket, because in every country, like to be able to understand the values of the administration and so on, I think it's important that like not only people from the country who are doing the partnership, but also people from other countries. Like we are, like in the Senserocket, we are many people from countries validate this.
But it depends. Like for instance, I'm working with la ville de Grenoble. We are working with la ville de Paris. It's public administration. I'm not going to ask for say to. I mean, it could be information, of course, if it's like a big figure. But for little partnership, very locally.
No, it's more when it's really to the government directly.
Okay, then it's in a scale because here we talk about public administration from very local to national stuff. Maybe it's when it comes to national one.
Yeah, when it comes to national.
I think for the event, when I'm going to ask to Senserocket if we can organize the event or not.
Well,
what do you think, guys?
But I think it's still important to like take it into account, like the main values again of the, like for example, I don't know, we could do a partnership with a local administration in the north of France, and which is like extremely right.
Just to fit the framework I'm talking about. But I think when do you ask the Senserocket if you do it or not?
Yes, that's why it's important also to like specify this.
This is the first validation is from this framework. Like any kind of partnership, I would like validate the framework. When it comes to a certain amount of budget, national, validation, we have to discuss it with this.
Okay, so it's a matter of when it becomes national, and when it's more than, I don't know, in France, but again, it's in France, so I don't know how it works with others. If you look at the threshold for call for tender, it's 15,000 euros. So everything that is less than 15,000, basically, is kind of considered as easy to organize, no big stress, no blah blah blah. If it's more than 50,000, then you get into a more institutional process. So maybe this could be a threshold, a limit, but I don't know if it sounds relevant for other countries. So we can test. I mean, for now, it's mostly with France that we've had this relationship, but because I heard that Daniel, so who's from, Vicky, maybe you know, but Daniel at some point he wanted to kind of export La France Engage and see how it could be implemented in Berlin, and he wanted to present that. But well, I don't know if it worked or not, or if it's relevant. But I thought that a framework like that could help someone like Daniel identify if it's not with Angela Merkel but someone else who would be the right interlocutor and how fast he can go on that, and when he needs to be cautious on not to go too fast.
Yeah, I think these programs that are you could basically almost use like a manual like within Europe of these programs like La France Engage. So even going further than the frameworks, I think it would be much like super useful, because I remember back then when we talked about it with Daniel, we're thinking like what we were planning to do is really just to take that case exactly that, and it's like put it on the table and say, okay, so this is what's happening in France, and then of course it's a matter of debate and like pragmatics how it will turn out, but it's so much more powerful if you can put something on the table that's that concrete,
Okay, so if there's no more comment, then I can make a proposition on review, and of course, as usual, we vote and improve the proposition.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll share it with mostly, I guess, first the hot groups who are the ones creating the partners and the community developers, and include that in our Senserocket report.
Yeah, baby.
So that's it. Do you know where Alice is and if she plans to come or not? Tomorrow we can discuss about it. I can start with the brief. Okay, so next thing, brand identity.
Okay. Tu peux partager l'écran ou pas?
Tout le monde va dessus?
Okay.
No?
So I shared the brief on Facebook, and the link is also in the document now. So if you could open the presentation.
The one for visual identity, right?
Sorry?
The one for visual identity?
Yes,
Yeah.
Make Sense Visual Identity.
Okay, I just put it here.
So last year, we started, after the Google Impact Challenge, we started to work on Make Sense brand identity because we realized that it was really important to help people understand better Make Sense, so our impact and so this would be through our brand. So you were all, most of you were involved actually in the first part of this process that was auditing the brand. And if you remember, so this was a 3-step project. We were first needed to audit the brand, then build Make Sense brand platform, and then launch it. So you all got involved into running different workshops with a wide audience to gather the insight on what is Make Sense, so to audit the brand. We also shared a survey, and from all these results, we generated the main theme and trends to get to the point where we could actually be able to define the primary and secondary values of the brand according to all the people surveyed. And at the same time, we worked on a benchmark of the competitors to see our positioning compared to theirs. So I'm just going to show you now, so the values that were identified from the studies. So the slide is called, values. Slide number 4. So from all the surveys, we realized that the primary values of Make Sense are, so it's not classified per importance. It's like all just at the same level. That it's participative. That it's so the second passage is kind of weird because we said do it yourself, but it's not really what we want to, the word we really want to use, and the accurate word for this is agency, which means that people have the freedom to really be involved, imagine what they want, it makes sense as long as it's related to our mission. Then third value is that it's open. It's a kind of family and a caring environment. And then the last one is energy. Then on secondary values, the word that came out were the fact that it's festive. And so the second word is in French. So it's because we didn't find the right word to translate it, but it's kind of
Even with English-speaking people.
Even with
it's not
English
just us not to good in English, but with native English people who didn't find the right word.
so enivant is kind of the kind of like atmosphere that we feel during Sense Camp, for instance. So I did see without alcohol. It's like having to see without alcohol. And the values, so the to be enhanced is actually the values we would like to push more, and it's the fact that it's open source. Because for the moment it was not really something that came out as strong as we wanted it to be. I'm going to the next slide, and so from all that we said that we wanted Make Sense brand to be perceived as accessible to the general public, so everybody, and to fit with every culture. So that's in terms of audience. Then the mindset should be that it's fun, but at the same time it's kind of mature. So what we meant with that is that it's like, even though the brand is super fun and what we do is fun, it's like it's not just for kids. I don't know how to explain that better, but it's like still very innovative and impactful. So that's how we came to the action part, sorry, and what we want to to highlight around Make Sense brand on that is the fact that it's digital, collaborative, and focusing on like innovation and innovative projects. So the next slide is a draft of the brand platform. It's definitely not something that is finalized, because to finalize the brand platform, we would need some experts to work on it with us, and people who are like native English speaking people. So it's like so as you can see, again, the personality reflects the values I was sharing. So the fact that it's contagious, energy, creative, innovative, and benevolent and supportive. The purpose of Make Sense, so it's that we incite businesses to become social and inspire while bringing solution. So our proposition is to mobilize citizens to prototype solutions for the world's issues, so that has not changed. And so the essence of the brand so the essence is really like what makes us different from others, and what is interesting and what I didn't realize before, what we didn't realize before in the team, is that it's the rapidity that we can bring to solve the challenges of social entrepreneurs compared to like other networks or experts. And then,
yes, the question, or are you done? Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not done, but actually I don't remember what we meant with that post-it, so I'm not gonna.
Business to become social. For me, that was not like the first, like one of the main focuses. It was more like find the people who have an impact and who are willing to have a viable social business, but not turn like regular business into social businesses. So I don't know, is it something that came out of the study, or is it something that is more related to, I don't know, like a common sense business, for example, or something like that?
No, it's something that came out of the study, and it's like also the fact that, for instance, in our criteria to select like social entrepreneurs to help. We also help, like for instance, NGOs that can develop a sustainable business model. So maybe business is not the right word, but it's more like the business world in general. It's not like pure for companies.
So is it more push social business in general?
Yeah. So, but anyway, like really, the word in here is like not final at all. So it's just to share with you the idea of what came out from the survey. So, what's next? So now that we are done with all the research, we need to test different logos that could come now from this survey. So it's like we need to start iterations with an agency that will design a new logo. And we had a proposition from the agency that actually designed the first version of Make Sense logo to work on it for free. So it will not be the same person who will work on the logo, because the first logo of Make Sense was done by Agathe, Christian's girlfriend, who's working in this agency. But it will be done by Olivia, so the founder of this agency, who knows Make Sense since the launch of the community, but who's never really been involved and so much into Make Sense. So it's quite good because she knows Make Sense and she can understand it, but she doesn't know it into like every detail. So she still can be much more objective than someone like Agathe, for instance. So the goal is to have her create different propositions, and based on the result of this interactive process with her, we will come back to you, like to the Senserocket, with a recommendation for a new logo. But this will not be directly like this. So it will be done in different steps. So the first step would be to work with the agency and then have the brand identity team choose a few options from all the ones that will be proposed by the agency. And then once we have like selected 2 to 3 options, we will start a new test phase. A new test phase with all the people who were involved in the testing in the first part, actually. So all the hotspots that did the workshops and the survey to collect all the insights will also be involved here to actually test the different logos. For instance, by doing like censoring with the community and going to ask specific questions to random people in the streets so that we can decide. So just so you know really how it will go, the next slide explains a bit more. So yeah, we will do like this kind of random surveys in the street with questions like whose logo do you think this is? Like what is it for? What are the kind of values that these logos reflect? And the goal with this test is to actually find the logo that represents the most the brief that we will give. So the values that I presented to you now. And then we will also do a test online, depending on what's feasible with the website. Like to have, like for instance, fake version of the website and surveys from that, so that people are really immersed in like what could be the website like. So then, so how are we going to decide on the evolution of the brand identity? So first, we'll need to have the Senserocket validate this brief. So I'm going to do a proposal on Lumio for everybody to have a sum up of this proposition. Then the brand identity team will agree on few option of logo. We'll decide the test criteria, run the test with the brand identity team and the hotspot that ran all the first parts. Then the people who will be involved in all the testing will present their recommendation to Make Sense brand identity team. We will gather all the results and then present the final recommendation again to the Senserocket, and then the Senserocket will sign off and decide which would be the final logo. So the goal is to have all this done by the Sense Camp in Paris, and actually so to really launch the brand, the new brand, during the Sense Camp in Paris, which means also having at this time the website updated with the new visual identity. And so just so you know, in parallel with this process, we will start working on the verbal identity. So of course it may be different depending on the regions, but we need a common baseline to encapsulate our mission and purpose. So for this, we are really looking for people willing to work with us on our baseline and descriptor, and we need people who are really native English speakers to avoid mistakes that we've made before. Like for instance, we realized that challenging people for social business meant that people were it was actually people with difficulties for social business. And again, make more sense, or other baseline we tried that really didn't mean anything. So if you hear of someone, or if you know someone who will be keen to work with us on the verbal identity, let us know. But they really need to be native English speakers.
Just one question: who is in the brand identity team?
So in the brand identity team, there is Soleil. She's actually the one leading this project because she has a lot of experience in branding. There's also Remy from Common Sense. There's also Leila, Ben, and me. And there's also Jeremy, one of the mentors of the Sense Campus. Any questions or comments?
And you were talking about brand ambassadors?
Yeah, the brand ambassadors are actually the people who participated in the first part of the survey.
Like all the respondents of the survey?
No, it's like the hotspot, that led the workshops. So the next step, as I said, I will make a proposition and sum up of this on Lumio so that we can validate the brief quickly, as it will be actually what will help us make the decision at the end. Like the decision of the logo at the end will be based on the brief that we have now.
Can you repeat the last part, because I didn't hear, please?
I said that I'm going to do a proposition, like a sum up of this proposition on Lumio, so that we can validate this brief. And it's super important because this brief actually represents the criteria we will have at the end to make our final decision on the logo.
Okay.
Oh, let's oh, sorry, that was you.
Buddy!
It was not me.
C'est dit.
Am I boring you?
Polly, David. You should turn off your micro. Your mic. Okay, what's the next point? What's the next point after that?
Discussion on payments of facilitators.
Okay.
Representative of Senserocket.
Okay. Hi guys. So actually, there are like two topics. I'm gonna make a proposition new that would be much more like complete, but as we have some. Victoria.
Hello, I'm back.
There is like 3 pictures of you. It's a bit weird. Well, so as you know, I co-founded Sense School 3 years ago with Marine, and this is something I always enjoyed to do, and the journey was great, and we had some amazing projects with the Sense Campus and other things to come. But at the same time, since last year when Leila decided to go to Hong Kong, I started to actually work on the HR and the organizational parts in the binôme with into it. And so it was like part of, you know, what we do, it makes sense. You have your main mission, but then you can also have other responsibility within the organization. And I really liked this one actually because we faced like a lot of new projects and challenges, and the team is growing super fast. Like in Mexico with a team of Lorena, in Dakar, over 5, almost 6 people soon, in Lebanon, in Filipino, in Belgium, in Berlin, and in France, of course. So I proposed to the Sense School team and the Make Sense team actually to shift this year. So as part of a transition phase, because it's not going to arrive from one day to another, but to jump full time on this HR responsibility and to leave a Sense School team, meaning that, well, I'm not leaving the team, but I'm growing my team, let's say. So I'm not going to be like conducting the operation and the strategy of Sense School anymore. I'm going to be contributing in a lot of projects, I guess, as I could do with the whole ecosystem. But now, like really working full time for Make Sense and to work on the organizational parts, so recruitment, trainings, culture, accompaniment, how do you say, personal development, and all like the journey within Make Sense, how you actually think about everything you can do, which career you can have actually in the ecosystem. So there are a lot of challenges to come because, as I said, like 2016 is a big scaling up phase with a lot of new things happening everywhere and a lot of new people working full time in Make Sense. So I think, and we think actually it's important to put more resources on HR. So that's why I propose myself, because I think I can contribute this way in the ecosystem and learn a lot of things and test and try things with the team. So the idea is that now I'm shifting from Sense School to Make Sense as an organization as well. And this budget was not included in the budget we presented last year, at the end of the year. So part of my responsibility would be also to raise the money, to contribute to raise the money to finance my salary, because it's not going to be financed by Sense School anymore. But it's going to actually come in the next months to come. It's not going to come now. I'm still an employee in Sense School till we find the money, and I'm going to be in an in-between phase during, I think, a few months till June. So this is the first thing. So I want to validate it with you, of course, as well, and explain a bit more about my mission. So this is what I'm going to propose in Volumio. And also, second thing is that now, if we follow the rules in the Senserocket, I'm not going to be in the Sense School team anymore, so I'm not going to be able to represent Sense School anymore. So there is an open seat for somebody from the team. So I don't think, maybe it's going to be another proposal. I wanted to check with you what is going to be the process to replace me in the Senserocket. Is it somebody that I choose, but I don't think it's a good idea? Is it somebody that, like a new process of recruitment within the team and you have to apply? So there are a lot of different scenarios, and I'm going to, like...
Is there anyone else from Sense School who applied the first time?
Yeah, Aurelia. So it could be Aurelia, Julien, Marine. It has to be, I think, somebody who knows a bit Sense School, but there are 3 people, and it's only one. So.
But what I don't understand is that if there is a spot for Senserocket that is already designed, that it's up to the Senserocket team to say who they want to represent them.
No, because it's not the process we use at the very beginning. We didn't say it should be
It was an application.
It was an application, and Aurelia applied, and I was.
Not as a Senserocket to apply as a full-time team.
Yeah, because I was the representative.
Yes, but you were like in the first round. We each decided to say, okay, we had a mail to say, okay, who will be the representative of each? Yes, and Vincent said, I will be the representative for my classroom. I said, I will be the representative for Sense Cube.
I think it can be more contributive. In any case, it's a discussion we have to have in the team. And I don't know actually if like other people in the, I don't know actually who now would like to be the Senserocket because maybe things have changed. But in any cases, that it has to be somebody else, and it has to be the process of a new person coming has to be like, validated by the Senserocket.
Yes, but I'm just saying like in the first run that each social business decide in turn maybe what was less people who could actually apply. No, the same. I don't know.
Well, so maybe it's going to be a discussion in the team, and then just to let you know that somebody else is going to replace me, and I think it could be like one of the 3 people, Julien, Aurelia, or Marine. And the other thing is that what I would like to suggest, so another proposition, is that I'm not going to be part of a decision in the Senserocket anymore, and that's part of the deal, let's say, even though I would like to stay somehow. But I'm super interested into governance and how we can actually improve the way we use this governance tool, which is the Senserocket, how we can improve the way we decide together, we communicate together. So we are trying a lot of things with these hangouts and but we can sometimes see limits of engagement and commitment and times and the way actually we decide things also when not everybody is agreeing. What I would like to propose is actually to stay as an observer, so not to contribute anymore to the decision and actually to have a voice in the Senserocket, but to stay on the like Facebook and Lumio platforms to see what's happening. And sometimes when I feel it's relevant, propose and suggest like things actually to improve the way we use the Lumio and maybe other tools we could use to better communicate and decide together.
Cool.
So but it's a little teasing because you're gonna have the whole story on the Lumio I think next week. But if you have any question right now, maybe about all this news, I think some of you already knew it because we talked together about it. But Constanza and Amit, I think you didn't know about it, so I would be happy to answer any question you may have. If you are still alive somewhere in the world.
Now, congratulations, first of all. It's a really good challenge, no?
Yeah. Actually, I'm super excited. It's not my challenge. I really would like to emphasize the fact that I'm going to be responsible for things to happen, but everybody is part of a decision we can take, and Senserocket is going to be like have a big role for this. And of the whole full-time thing, and of course, sometimes the community is going to be contributing actually to build this organization we want to have all together.
But it's like a new position, no? There was anyone who was focused on that before.
Exactly. Well, it was something shared. Like a lot of people, Leila started to do this, and she's still like to do a lot. Leia also, and other people in the full-time team are like contributing because they really like this. But yes, it's the first time that somebody is going to have like the full time dedicated on it.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I think it's a really important position, like to, you know, to administrate people and put order.
So do you have questions maybe, or do we go to the next topic?
What are the next steps again? So that she will explain on Lumio why she's shifting and propose a process to replace her that will be presented by Senserocket.
validate the fact that you are here as an observer. It's two different positions.
And yeah, to be there at 3, first validate the fact that
The decision.
that you some
Did we talk about the process with the
No, this is something we're going to open.
And again, I think that in the first run, we all designed, each social business decided on its own who were the replacements, its own representatives. I don't see why we should change for the second
So
time.
the thing is, for instance, if we choose it, Julien, should Julien apply?
But it's not us to choose, it's Aurélia, Julien, the whole team of Senserocket to decide all together.
Also, you apply, remember?
Yes.
So should Julien apply on that, for instance? This is the kind of
because there were criteria. It was not just someone
It
from
was
the team. It was someone from the team also applying the criteria.
So maybe we didn't need at all. I was in the selection process, I don't know if you remember, that for business design its all representatives.
Yeah, but they didn't them to apply.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it's part of the process, just to be like, you know.
Maybe we could go back to the rules, like of the system.
Yeah.
I think it's great and just like this. And maybe that could be a great occasion also to decide and to specify what do we do when someone leaves the Senserocket.
Yeah, this is the thing.
What's the replacement
It's always
process?
also the way of thinking of exit process and coming back, because it could happen for other organization or full time you decide to leave. So I think it's not only about this case where we pretty much know who could be the next one. In the end, we'll see. But on the whole process about the governance and how we quit and we come back. Nice! So Alizé is still on the plane. No, we don't know where.
Gone. So I have another topic. We have time, no? No? Okay. So I have another topic. It's topic number 5. I've just added the link. So here it's something that came out from different situations. Sorry, I haven't found it. From different situations, and that I thought it would be nice to have, and it was a request to have it more clear. So the topic is the payment of the facilitators. So why this topic? So I invite you to read the document. So again, it's really just open for discussions, and the idea is to collect the feedbacks and comments of everyone. So when should the gangsters get compensated for facilitating a Make Sense Hold Up? So as we all know, for Hold Up, we do that as a volunteer. We do that on social people we want to help. We do it, we schedule the time and day, the location. We know we're going to rate things. We want to do it because this is a way to get involved in Make Sense and its impact. But then sometimes there are some specific situations happening. And so the idea is here to... Hello? 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 Lorena, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Sorry, I just started to hear like a robot voice.
Okay. But sometimes there are some specific situations that we just need to be transparent about. The first one that I think I'm quite clear that you all know about is when we have a paid mission that comes from the social businesses, and that there's a need for more facilitators. Then it happens that we ask some gangsters, and especially those that have some experience running the hold-ups, and they get paid for that. Because it's a paid mission with a specific brief, there's money for that, and there's also some expectations to make sure that there is professional work that is delivered. And this happened for the Innovation Game by Sense School, Hackathon for Sense Cube, and Creative Workshops with Common Sense. So this has happened regularly for the last 3 years at least, and the facilitators, they pay for that. And the budget for now, I mean, the pricing for now is 200 euros per half day. So again, it's not something that was quite incremental. We didn't know exactly how to price that. I think for the last year it was the budget for almost all the different time when it happens. And it also depends, I mean, the time that the facilitator that the gangster will spend depends on if he also needs, he or she needs to be involved in the preparation or only the facilitation. So this can have an impact on the time and so on the money that is paid at the end.
Just to be sure to understand, the 200 euros are per half day. Is it for preparation plus animation or just facilitation?
Yeah, for now it's just facilitation because usually when someone comes, yeah.
And if the comments are made for workshop, when it was like that, it was another one, again, it was another one. So there is
now we're relying
about,
on that. I mean, the idea is to get aligned, no?
yeah, the idea is we did it like so far we weren't really aligned and we really like event per event, and now the idea also of this framework is to say, okay, let's set also a price so that we don't have like these discrepancies that create frustration and incomprension.
Okay.
So
Clearly, it wasn't. You can find a lot of examples that don't fit this price for this.
So this is quite clear, I think, because of the context. It comes from a paid vision that is delivered by one of the social businesses, and then there are situations that are less clear and that I think we need to address, even though we still can have customized situations. That still is good to address that. So sometimes makes sense is asked to organize hold-ups in specific events. So for example, when we organize events, for example, Bénévote in Paris, where it really makes sense, it's not one of the business because it includes citizen engagement, organization of workshops. Makes sense is the partner. Makes sense gets a compensation for organizing that. Some resources to it. So usually the event is still on social entrepreneurship. It's still on civic engagement. It's still open to all. It's free. But it requires some work, so we need a project manager that is paid for that because we need someone full time. But then we have also the other gangsters who would be asked to come to help because only one person on the day is not enough. But other gangsters would come to facilitate the workshops to prepare things. So these gangsters are, for now, they're not paid. Okay. So that's one situation which makes sense, which still respects a lot of the criteria because it's open to all, it's free and it's social entrepreneurship, but still there is a budget allocated. It's done in a specific context. So does it involve anything else in terms of do we need to pay or bring a compensation? Another situation is when we don't even receive money, and take the case of the Ashoka events, the dreamstorming, that have happened in London, in Brussels, or in Paris, where still it's on social entrepreneurship, still it makes sense somehow because it's Ashoka, blah, 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 but it's with a lot of constraints, So the format changes, maybe it's only specific people that can attend, it's a list of experts that come, it's a specific time of the day that is not convenient, it has to be prepared in a certain way, blah, blah, blah. So here we are more, I mean, it changes the way you prepare to it. It changes also the experience for the youngster. It also involves some project management, even though there's no budget. And here, I mean, do we continue like that, or do we need to specify something? And is it fair not to get paid, not to get a compensation? Should we ask or not? Then you added something which I don't understand. When makes sense gets a compensation, but not a recognition.
Yes, actually, it's one of the topics that we have. That we have currently, and that raise also this topic is that it's not well written clearly. is that when you have like an open to all workshop, but no, it's for university. It's not open to all non-English.
In Italy, for instance, we have, I don't have all the information, but we have workshop for university for the students, but for social entrepreneurs. And the only constraint is that it's the students of the university and that it happens at a certain date. And the university is giving money, but just for the flight and little compensation. It's not like a paid mission with a margin, etc. And in the first place, we said, okay, this little extra money that we get should go to pay for the hotspot expenses. And go or to pay also a reward for the gangster that comes, because there are gangsters coming from abroad into Italy, and so that they can have, like, for instance, a ticket to enter a sense camp. So that it's not giving them money to organize a hold-up, because when you start paying people to organize a hold-up, then it will be difficult to end this trend. But more to say, okay, you did that, you didn't spend any money for the travel, for all the expense of staying, but you get a reward on for that. But Patricia, I don't know if she's there. No, too bad. She raised the topic saying, okay, but we're doing that because also it can be maybe a potential deal for sense school. So it's in the frame, like, why aren't we paid for that? And so it brings the case where it's not in a social, it's not within a social business mission.
But it's in a sales process.
It's in a sales process, but that sense school didn't start. That gangster started. So it wasn't in the initiative of the business. And it was like Marine is going to see, and it was going, but it's not like and the lot of time doing that. So we need a good partner for us to develop, and we need the opportunity to have a partner and with that. But it was a really hard situation, and I think this situation. Like Motomers, the agency, the framework, the guidelines to say, okay, in which situation does it fit and what should we do? Because, like, the solution offered was really to give a reward and like to pay for all the travel expenses, but not give money for that, but give a reward that worth a lot. It's not just like a reward, like you have your profile on Facebook, like a ticket. For the same time, but still we want. What do you think, guys?
So will the
Yes, Lorena?
how would you rate, like, is there going to be like a process or something in which you are going to assess all of these things, or are you going to have a criteria to see how is it going to work?
So this is our job now all together, is to create that as the Senserocket.
Okay.
So this is what we need.
Because I mean, there are so many different variations or options and like things that will have to be considered. So just it's sort of broad right now, but I mean, definitely if people are getting, like you see, I think it's like sort of like using the example of the Masons room, like you invite people and artists who come and then they play, and then like you want to make sure that it doesn't cost them to come and give something of value to your event. And I think like it's a way in which you should consider like the skills, the time, the resources that people are gonna be offering, and it's also a way for us to see it as an organization that it's like that has matured and we have something of like value to add, because otherwise it's just like you give, and like how is the hotspot receiving? You know, a lot of the like the volunteers even like resources like the post-its or the space or whatever, like they're putting it off their pocket. So I think this would be a good opportunity for like to have some cash going to them.
You think cash is better than a reward that, like, going to having a ticket to the Sense Camp? In that example we were talking about?
I think, I mean, like the rewards are good, but it doesn't replace the fact that people need cash to cover certain, you know, expenses. Those are like needed.
Were covered.
It's like more like it's a really.
So I think, I mean, like, I think it can be both. It doesn't have to be either or. I think you can be both, you know, like some things that need to be covered to recovery and like to make sure that if people are like doing this, at least they're not losing money for participating with the activities. And at the same time, it's like, you know, you have like awards to motivate like the most active people as well. So something to look forward to.
I have a question. So, what is the challenge, like the issue here? Is it because, like Patricia, for instance, or any gangster taking this time, would have like expressed the need of like some kind of a reward? Is it something that she said?
Yeah, no, because they thought it was paid and they were surprised that it wasn't. So
They were surprised that as gangsters organizing all this, they were not paid.
they were surprised that it was a very specific request that implies a specific organization, time, place, format, preparation, etc. And that for all this preparation, there was no compensation because it was different than it was against the organizer hotel. No?
Well, actually, maybe it's
If they organize a Sense Camp, you don't get a compensation.
Yeah. And
yeah, but it's not like
And there is money gathered. You have extra money for, like for instance, when you have a Sense Camp, you have like 5 to 7 people organizing for 3 months volunteering a whole event. And usually they have extra money out of the Sense Camp, and this money goes to a reward for the gangster, usually like a restaurant or a diner, and for paying all the furniture for the local hotspots, so that people volunteering don't have to pay for post-it, room, etc. And this is the money we use for that. And it's really initiated by the gangsters.
This is initiated
by the gangsters. Patricia initiated it. Yes.
She started. It's an open event. It's different from a private event, right? With clients.
It's not an open event.
Sense Camp is an open event, right? And yes,
You pay for it to get to an open event. Anyone can.
It's not open. I mean, open is like anybody paying on a drink can go to. It's a public event, but
Yeah, but it's open for the dream. This is exactly the question. Like, is for example, the dream storming wasn't an open event, and we never paid gangster to animate.
yeah, but maybe we should have paid them in that case. You know, I mean, if we talk about frameworks, like brainstorm a bit, like on the concept. So, like, for which kind of events should we start to get paid? I don't think it has to be related to does it create an opportunity for a business or not, because everything creates an opportunity for a business, and it could be an engaged room and all that. So it's not about this, but it's about the time you dedicate. So, and then you can compare an engaged room with a Sense Camp and with this kind of event. And then it's about like, is it like an open event to the community, or is it a private event for clients, which is not the same, and also it's not the same expectation. If you, let's say like if the Sense Camp is like there's a bad quality in the Sense Camp organization, then the consequence is not that. I mean, it's big on the community, but
I'm not sure actually. I think Eddie, you're taking part of that, no? It's an open event organized by the university, but it's open, I think. For instance, no? Yes. In that case, it's an open event. For instance, it's not dedicated to the students. It's just that the university is organizing it.
Yeah, it's just that we needed gangsters. They needed gangsters to come because there is also no gangsters there
In Italy.
So that's
So
the
they
most.
fly.
yeah, but then did they feel obliged to do so? Because if we said like no, there is no gangster, and we
No,
wouldn't do
because
it.
it was initiated by Patricia, so there was no obligation.
Okay, so in that case, I mean, we talk about the French
There is
frameworks
no
and
No, but I think this case was interesting because it's not this case because I think it's not just the case for the case. It's just that this case is interesting because it asks a lot of questions and it challenged the framework that was envisioned so far, but that we had in mind so far. And
this is why the question is like there is the expectation of being paid in this particular case.
The expectation comes from the fact that it could lead to school.
All right, so we think that if they could like things they're gonna do could be used to sell something for Senserocket, and they're not like comfortable with this. So this is something interesting.
But they're not comfortable with that. They're just saying that if I spend so much time to achieve the pay, why should I?
No, but then maybe it could be because there is indeed a sensible deal coming out of this. Then
But you could take it the way, wow, that's awesome. Senserocket is coming. There is an opportunity to maybe launch an hotspot and blah blah blah. So the fact that they take it as Senserocket is going to make money
no,
out
but
of it.
sensible is not coming. They initiated it.
Yeah, but I is coming to then talk to the director in Milano and all those things. So, but is it something that you know, or is it something that you analyze it as they are not comfortable with it? Because in that case, it's an open event.
Patricia told us, or not told me, but told Solène, I'm surprised that we're not paid. I expected that we had, but it's okay. And then we said, okay, but we thought it was more a reward. And then she said, like, a fly out to a sense camp. And then she said, I would prefer a flight, but for somewhere else than a sense camp. And then we say, no, because it's not a reward, then it's something to pay. It's just another way to pay it, but it's not that. But maybe we can hear Eddie, because it wasn't in this, maybe as another view, because it's Solène and Patricia, the two that talk about it and that are organizing this event. It's just that discussion that I had with Solène, but I wasn't not in the discussion with Patricia and not with the university. So maybe Eddie, you can bring added. You're mute, Eddie.
No, mais il parle pas d'avance.
It's not working.
You should open your mic. What?
Il a pas de micro, je pense.
Oh no.
You have no mic, Eddie?
Yeah, it was the last time already with him. He doesn't have a microphone.
Okay. Shush.
And like, what's your opinion? Can you write it down in the chat?
In the chat.
In the chat.
And Constanza, Vicky, what do you think about it? When do you think, what should be the criteria? Ça vous qui là?
Vicky 2 est là. Non, Vicky 3.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can add something. Maybe on my side, I think it's not relevant to to decide on the potential that the mission has, because if you do the mission just for the potential and you put too much pressure on that, maybe that's not your role anymore. Maybe your role as a youngster is just to connect the people, like for example, send school with the guy in Italy, but if you don't make the mission just because it has a great potential for to develop the business for a social, one of the social business here. So definitely I think it's not the great option to put the potential into account, and if you just make the mission for that, it's not a good reason.
And also,
But what else? What are the other criteria you think? Because you've done a lot of different things. In all the different, you've done maybe in all the different scenarios you've been, maybe all of them. So when do you think that we cross a line? What makes a gangster cross the line and the expectations will change? Or
I think the starting point is just to be 100% transparent on the thing. It's like, for example, okay guys, we are like the city of Paris asked us to animate something. We think we are doing this because it's important, so, and blah blah blah, and we are compensated just because we will have to engage some fees on that, and that's just it. And then just leave the door open so that anyone can have all the information to say, okay, it will ask me much time, the constraint on this, and I'm paid or not to do that. So everyone is like 100% free to decide with the whole information. I think that's the most important thing. And yes.
Finish.
And for the others, I think that maybe the problem for Italy was that it was not 100% clear at the very beginning, and maybe if like the person who is organizing this, like the event or the thing, maybe this person has to be sure that she will be able to gather enough people so that it doesn't ask too much effort for the people like to come from another country, for example, because it's like highly like a big constraint, and then it becomes too big to be just as a volunteer and just to
Beaches.
yeah, sure. to come here. Maybe it's too heavy to come here just like a volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the constraints are too high,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's if you have the impression that it's like more like a job and it's normal that you don't think it's normal not to be paid.
Because then you don't have to.
You can also like
You
to
have to feel
you
confused.
can do it.
Let's read what Eddie has written, please. Then we have Caro, Léa, Chloé, Lorena.
It sounds like a simple issue until you go through a scenario when you do and when you get.
Again,
It sounds like a simple issue until you go through all the scenario when you do and when you don't get paid. What are you paid for? How you're recompensed will definitely need to be standardized across the whole thing. It's a very difficult framework to build if we make too many exclusions.
Sure.
We've never paid any gangster here as far as I know, at least in 2 years, apart from Elodie, our ex-community developer. And then Lorena said you can get sponsorship. I have a suggestion of framework, like would be maybe in this case, this type of case where it's like not 100% clear that there is a client and a pay mission. That we do kind of a mission offer, and we are super clear about, okay, this is the context, this is what we would like you to do, this is what actually you're gonna have from this experience. So it's not only about money, you can have a training from Sense School, blah, blah. So skills gains, travel to Russia, if it's in Russia, blah, blah, blah. So that it's really clear that there is like financial and non-financial benefits. And then, do you apply or not? Do you want to do it or not? So this is actually a little time to spend at the very beginning to assess all this, so that it's clear for everybody. And then if the gangster say, okay, it's super cool, I want to do it, they do it. But if they have all the information to say yes or no. And there is no bad surprises, but also emphasis on the fact that it's not only about being paid or not, it's about what you're going to bring with you after this experience. You know, and what you're going to contribute to if you do so. It could actually lead to maybe a Sense School program, being super clear about this, maybe relaunching the community because here there is no community or like a few little people and it boosts the hotspot, you know, and by doing this, you contribute to something bigger. Like this.
Yeah.
I agree on what Eddie said about first the situation, and that's why I rewrote it in the first place, is that you don't get paid for organizing a holdup. And I think that the framework should start with that, because it's the other, it's exceptional situation for me. And that
you will talk about the other, right?
No, but it's really important to keep that in mind, and that if we're getting into that path, it will be really harder than to.
Yes, you don't get paid and you are free to organize. It's based on volunteering. I think that's the two main points.
Yes.
And
but in Benevol, for instance, I never said it's volunteering, do you agree or not? It was implied that it was volunteering. Because when you organize a workshop in Make Sense, it's volunteering, and when it's getting paid, it's well said before. But
I think we all agree on that.
I think actually for Benevol, I would have explained the context that mode is paid, but it's a mission and then you can volunteer. But I would have been much more transparent about the context, for instance. Not knowing that Maud was actually working full time on the mission and being paid was not.
But I think it's really confusing for the people. Like most of the people that volunteer, that
can be
they're people that they never. It was their first volunteering where it makes sense. Like if the first time you're going to make sense, the first thing you heard is about money. For me, we change, we display the message and the focus.
No, it's about the context. And the money is part of
It's
it.
the logistic part that shouldn't be like. It's about like having a fun experience when you learn and when you find and meet new people. And if the first time you meet with an organization, you say, okay, but remember, it's free. Like for me.
Maybe it's not the. Oh, sorry. Go. Sorry.
Okay, and then Constanza wanted to say something.
No, yeah, I know. I was just curious to know about. I have a lot of echo.
Okay.
So what? No, as you said, Leah, that they asked to kind of being paid. So I wonder what is their objective? What they are organizing this event? Just to take an example in this case. So what's the aim of the event? Apart from, okay, I'm talking about the one in Italy.
Ask Eddie.
To use a framework.
I think they identified the opportunity first and decided to.
Sorry?
Because it was, I think Patricia identified the opportunity to do this with the university and was because it's like she really wants to help develop hotspots in Italy. But then the question of being paid or not comes only from the fact that it could be a potential lead for Senserocket.
Okay. So it could be, or the reason I don't know, they're start talking about it because it's.
The only reason it could be is because Marine is coming to discuss with them to like see how it's going and if there is an opportunity.
Okay, so this is why they should be paid because it's a potential opportunity.
It's not. She didn't say that she should be. She just raised our attention to say, I expected, and after she said okay, and they were all okay with that. That's okay. It wasn't a reward. It's just a warning that there was a misunderstanding. There was like expectation that we didn't anticipate it, and that it's interesting to have a framework to anticipate that and to be clear with everyone. But it shouldn't be like the whole topic of the Senserocket. Sorry to. Yeah. It's just like it was interesting because. We didn't run into that situation before, but now that we have a framework, I mean, not yet, but when we will have a framework, it will avoid this situation. But then this current situation, it's about like Eddie.
I know. I was asking just to start from something, to starting from an existing situation and trying to build kind of a framework. So as you were saying, if I don't know, because paying cash, it's a little bit. It's not easy to define and to. So I would, or you go like you give like a budget for a project that it's tangible, impactful for make sense, and do a budget for travel expenses and. I don't know, some material, but I don't see like giving cash to individuals.
Yeah. Like Leah said, we don't get paid for organizing holdups. So to me, the only reason where this could be actually done is when the situation does not correspond to the make sense criteria for events. So it's like either it's not for social business, so we are a service provider, or it's not an event that is open to everybody because all our events should be open. And when there is when it's like open to everybody for social businesses and so on. I think that the reason someone could be paid is only if there is a huge coordination needed. So that's what happened for Benevolt, and that cannot be covered by the community developers. So that's what happened for Benevolt, and that's what happened for the Impact Journalism Day, where someone was hired to actually do the coordination because it was huge. And then
And because it wasn't an initiative of volunteer, because Senserocket is an initiative of volunteer.
yes, and it's also another reason is that it's not only so because coordination was needed, it's also because like precise results were expected. So it's not really about coordination, but it's more like when there is a precise expectations that cannot be done by the organic community mobilization, then there is a reason to pay someone. And then the last thing to me is when there is, for instance, expenses in terms of like going to the place to organize the hold-up and so on. Of course, like in France, it happened many times that we had hold-ups in cities where we had no gangsters, and we asked if gangsters were interested in organizing the hold-up, and as it was a hold-up, they only got their travel expenses reimbursed. So to me, the situation in Italy is a bit like this. Like they have this opportunity to organize hold up in another city, and they are going, and as they are going, we should reimburse their travel expenses. But then, to me, like, and maybe when there is I don't know, and to me, it's not even a question of reward because they have no obligations of doing it. So
It doesn't have to be pursued as a job. Like that's
yeah,
maybe the main difference. Because
Probably we build to them in the opposite way. That makes sense.
now we can hear you.
Sorry?
It was breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
try again.
No, what I was saying is that if you think as an organization that there are this kind of event that can be useful and impactful and help to develop the businesses or the community in general, so it should be created like a framework of this kind of events that can be that you would push because they would help. You know what I mean? It's not
saying that when, like, for instance, if there is this opportunity like in Italy and we really want to make it happen, like we should give incentives with a reward.
Yeah, like what I'm saying is that if you see that this is a real opportunity that can be also replicated in other countries. So
I understand your point for instance, to like, I think it could be interesting to see it that way, like whenever there is an opportunity in a city where there is no gangster, but we really want to make it happen because it's strategic, for instance, for the development of the community or for any other reason, it's strategic to do it. Then we can decide rewards, like, but to me it could be even small rewards because we really want to make it happen. But then if it's not like something that is strategic, then there is no reason to push it.
Okay.
Reason to have a reward, because in a way it's also like, to me, I was surprised actually about this question of Patricia, because to me she was doing it because she wanted to develop Make Sense in Italy, and because it was also a fun opportunity to go there along with other Italian friends, because all the people going except Eddie are from Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
No, but thanks very much. Yeah, you wanted to add
Maybe, yeah, I was thinking about other cases like Strasbourg. Remember, it was a common sense mission. You were paid for this.
But not it was not the day in Strasbourg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were not paid for that. We were paid for the 5 first workshops we did everywhere.
Okay.
But for that, the money we got was to pay the
Only the
expenses of everyone. And it was open to all. Yeah, and it was open and free.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this, for instance, like everybody would not even think about like asking for money because if there was somebody behind, actually I thought if there was somebody behind, I didn't care because it's just a super opportunity to win a big event and.
As example, maybe we have as many examples as possible.
Okay.
So maybe now there is enough to make a proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Just to add something more, I think, I mean, like, we're not gonna end this conversation here right now, but something that has been mentioned before here in Mexico, it's like, okay, like if you are giving a service that has value and then people are satisfied with what they receive, like either the participants and like the entrepreneurs, then why don't you give them the opportunity to give something back? I mean, it's not like even mandatory, but you can have like a little box or something in which you like tell people, hey, if you're an entrepreneur and you enjoy it, and if you want to keep supporting the community, like just make like a small donation. Likewise for participants, if you enjoy it or so on, like just keep it open, like for the opportunity for people to give back, and you don't know what's going to happen. So maybe that's something that that we could try. Like maybe we say like, okay, we're gonna try it like in these holdups in these cities and see what's the response. And maybe that it's not like, I mean, I know that this is different from like when it's a strategic work from the gangster, but it's an opportunity for allowing them to give back to their contributions and for the time that people are doing to organize this.
For me, in this situation, there's a huge risk of a mission drift, to make sense, where people would go, entrepreneurs would go because there is a little donation box, or gangster would do it because there is a donation box. So I think in terms of how everyone contributes, it's more of sharing the contacts, learning from the experience, helping the entrepreneur with other means and money, otherwise it would be a crowdfunding platform. So I do understand the fact that there's probably more ways in terms of reward and in terms of creating the relationship and rewards. There's probably a lot to do to engage more the social entrepreneur, to engage more the participants in the moment, but give a space for money in such events, to me there is a huge risk of a mission drift when it happens, and then that gangsters would do, I mean, I think they would drastically change the environment and what people expect from that and what social entrepreneurs expect from that.
I think not bringing money into the story also highlights the importance of the skills and the contact and all the non-monetary like benefits of all the mission and of the involvement. So I think it's like even more important to put that away.
Maybe we can close this topic and go to the next one.
If someone else wants to react on that, next one. No, I agree with you.
So the next steps is you propose a framework out of
Yeah.
one framework a day, keep it after a week.
Yeah, one framework a week.
I get fit, clean, beautiful, like the framework every day.
But I mean does someone else want to react or comment to what Elena said? Or add something else? Vicky, Didi, Constanza?
No.
No.
Okay. So I think the next. Does anyone want to share another topic? Because otherwise we're almost done. We have the Senserocket report. So I don't know, Vicky, if you wanted to mention the format or who does what and when.
Well, exactly. I mean, actually, the main issue is just speaking for Constanza and myself here. Actually, I think that we didn't have enough time to do the report this one. So we just did a first draft. But I think what's going to cost the most time is to everything that's formatting, etc., and like even thinking of if we want to change the format from how it was like last year. Whereas like I really liked it. I think it was Caro who did it, right?
The first report.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. So the question.
So what does anyone want to help contribute or does some time to help Vicky and Constanza on that this week? Or want to give a hand?
There's the report of the month, right?
Of the because we didn't do it monthly for now, but in 3 months. So it's basically the discussions. But Vicky did the draft already, so it's more if anyone wants to give a hand. Is it a Google Drive, a Google Doc, Vicky?
No, it's a Google Slides because I didn't know how to format it, but it's basically almost all the content is in there. So it's just a matter of doing like format, etc. And I don't know if it's smarter to do it on Word or to work on slides. You don't have a template or something, Carol?
We do have a template. Yeah, you have it. So nothing like the PowerPoint you need.
Yeah.
If you did it on Google Slide, I think it's a good format because it's very convenient to share, no?
But have you already shared it, Vicky, to everyone, or maybe you can put the link on the document? I don't know if you shared it already.
Not so sure.
Can you share it with us?
Yes, I can.
Cool. So we can have.
I don't know why I found that funny. Getting too late. Okay. Share. I don't know why I'm laughing. I didn't even know.
Just a link on the Senserocket on the agenda.
No, the link is here. I think it's the. Right.
Hey girls, focus.
Sorry. Tu peux être observatrice
Yeah, so that should be the link. Check if it works.
Yeah, it works. So, I know,
So a question is also, that was actually one content-related question, is do we include discussions that just happened? I think it's quite interesting, although, we didn't make proposals.
Yeah, sure. I think that's right with that.
And then generally, actually, if you look at the decisions taken, I wonder if something like, well, I have no idea how far we are with that, but if the Coca-Cola thing in Greece, if that's worth putting there, because nothing really happened yet, or what happened, It's not like we started a project or something, right?
Yeah, but still, I think I would share it.
Yes.
Okay.
Very transparent and not wait. So for each, we have the. Should we share like how many percentage voted or not?
should we say was validated by 60-70%, or there's no?
No,
I'm not sure we need
No?
no, because as long as it's
Validated.
validated.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's a just formatting context. Proposal, context. Should we put the context and the proposal each time? Yes, no, it's better, context and proposal.
Well, it's not with all of them. I didn't finish with all of them because actually I had to rephrase quite some stuff because then it really, yeah.
So can anyone help her? Can anyone spend some time? I think if we can. So the template.
I think what could work well is actually rather than saying now, 2-3 people will help and we will work online, to actually say let's take 2 hours in the coming 2 weeks, like have an actual meeting on Skype or in person, and just do it. And I think we can finish, if we're like 4 people, and we split the tasks. And I think it's more efficient than having people working online, like just contributing a little bit. You know what I mean?
How many topics do we have to finish?
Well, I mean they're all unformatted, and then they're not coherent yet. I just put like the content in. I started editing some of them, but sometimes I have only the context. Sometimes the proposal and the context are kind of the same. So it's also about deciding on how we do the format even.
But I think it's a good idea to say maybe anytime in the week to say, guys, let's meet online for those who can at 8 p.m. and everyone who can connects and works on the document. No?
Do you think it's more efficient to be like all together on the document or to add comments?
No, it's just a matter of what motivates people. I mean, no, but I don't think it's more efficient, but it's more like at the end something needs to happen and.
Or maybe.
I guess so what I propose is I get the template from Caro and I make one slide. And the way it should look like, and then we just split it up and everyone makes one slide.
Great idea. Yeah, totally. Good idea, and then we just split, and it's easy, and everyone takes the time to fill it, and everybody can do one slide, and it's done. Great idea. I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So Caro, if you could
My
send
food just arrived, guys.
Yeah. Come on. So Caro, can you send me that?
I'm looking it right now. Already it's
Okay, now I don't understand anything anymore, but it's fine.
We are eating with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for right now?
Love.
And food. Love. Bye. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah. Wait. Who's barman next month?
And
Christian and Chloe.
let's see what happens.
Let the magic happen.
I think it's
I think we should.
same engagement as Vincent.
No, Vincent had made one post that I wrote for him.
Bisous. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Amazing.